What's up, Cougar Country? Welcome to the podcast number 5. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications. It is another great week, and we're just coming off of the rodeo. And it was your first rodeo. How did you feel about it?
Yeah, my first ever rodeo was amazing. My daughter loved it. I loved it. We were with, Coach Joe here. The community was awesome. Had some great tri-tip. We had caramel corn, and that was just a great experience. Loved it. And it's intense. I didn't realize how high those things buck. The bareback riding, like, holy smokes. That was awesome.
And how was the parade?
Amazing. Yeah, we walked with the kids and the community. It was just like so glad we got into it. Shout out to Old Town for letting us get in there super late, and Heather with the Old Town Association, and she got us in like last minute. We Jeremy Luganville had a trailer. We put a bunch of hay on it, got the kids ready to go. The band was in front of us, and the cheerleaders, and then us, and the whole town was out. It was amazing. So thanks for that, guys.
Yeah, so for me, not my first rodeo, but my first Clovis Rodeo, and it was amazing. It was one of the best rodeos I've ever been to. I love the atmosphere. I love the togetherness, the familyness that you could feel. It had just an amazing atmosphere there. It was so fun to be there. As far as the parade goes, the parade went incredibly well. All the guys were out. The community were just so happy to see all the guys out. And it was great interaction with that, and I thought that went very, very well.
Agreed.
And then we're going now, into another week. We got some really cool surprises, and also, shout out for the new hats that we got.
Everybody look at the hats right here. Sean at Artworks, appreciate you. Tom Burke, Interstate Battery, appreciate y'all for putting those together real quick and get them to our kids. They're all over school now. It's so funny. How do I get that hat? Well, you play football. That's how you get that hat.
So let's get right into it, Coach. Where are you from? Who have you coached for? What do you coach? What kind of realms do you coach in? It's, mainly strength and conditioning, but let's tell us more about it.
Yeah, so my name is Joe Baxter. I was born and raised in Michigan. Obviously, most people are going to tell that from my voice and my accent. They usually catch that. Exactly. They usually catch that pretty quick. It's pretty hard to hide. That was my life growing up. So, like I said, originally from Michigan. I'm from a big family. I got 6 brothers, 6 sisters, raised on a farm. And we had a great time growing up. Background, what do I coach? I coach strength and athleticism and human performance. Background in that is Coach Wilkins here got me into Liberty University with the football team there. That's kind of where I got into it. I had the privilege of working with great men like Bill Gillespie. Worked underneath him and Dave Williams. Huge shout out to Coach Williams. He's the man. He is the OG. One of the very first college football strength and conditioning coaches in the world. So back in the day, there was no such thing as a strength and conditioning coach for football. That was the head coach's responsibility. And Texas A&M way back in the day said, hey, we're going to change that. And they brought in Coach Williams. And Coach Williams has just got this huge background.
Pioneer of strength and conditioning, for sure.
Yeah, and he is the real OG in that. And he's just an amazing, humble man, great man, and just amazing to learn underneath, for sure.
Coaching at the college level, and you're working with all these kids that are pretty much specimens, just total athletic, and they're just powerful as can be. What are the main principles that you would coach them to to get them better and go to the next level?
So when you're coaching at the collegiate level, you're just focusing in on little teeny tiny details, because guys show up at the D1 level, like at Liberty. When they show up, they're already the dude. They're already the man. They're already gifted. They're already talented. They're already strong. They're already fast. So in that atmosphere, right, I'm going to take that guy and I'm just going to focus in on just small, minute details. Just, hey, clean this up just a little bit. Clean this up just a little bit, right? And I'm going to work on the fine details in that setting.
And then advising all the student athletes here, just watching over them. What is one thing that you'll implement, and just looking at what they're doing right now that would probably make them better, faster, stronger?
So yeah, here at the High school level, it's going to be a different aspect of training, a different aspect looking at the way,
They need everything.
the way we tackle stuff, and that is everything. So variety is definitely huge at this level. So you're going to teach guys just new skills every day, something new. You're going to want to teach strength, you're going to want to teach speed, you're going to want to teach power, agility, mobility, flexibility, all of those things. And it's just this big gamut of everything, right? And you're just going to take it the whole picture. And here we're looking at the whole picture, and you want high school guys to be a little bit good at everything, and then you start to slowly progress. And as they're getting up towards senior, right, they should be starting to hone in, getting good at a little bit of everything. But starting out as a freshman, you just want them to just get the basics.
And what are some of the basic workouts that would be beneficial for them?
So just honestly, just repetitions, just doing everything. The old saying, repetition is the mother of all learning. You're just, every exercise, every workout, everything you can imagine as far as flexibility, mobility, agility is concerned, you're just going to want tons of reps, just keep them going on it. You definitely want to teach all the basics, teach them how to lift. Are we going to teach them to deadlift? Yes. Are we going to teach them to bench press? Yes. Are we going to teach them to power clean and hang clean and squat, back squat, front squat? Olympic lifts, we're going to put in there, we're going to put a snatch and a clean and jerk shirt. We're going to teach them all of that. We just want a massive variety of training.
And getting out of the weight room, how much of a aspect is it for them to get their sleep, get their water, and get the proper nutrition so they could have the best workouts possible?
Yeah, at this age, high school level is when you really want to hammer that stuff, because if you don't sleep and you don't eat and you don't hydrate, you can't perform. You can't perform in the weight room. You can't perform on the field. And that can
Can't perform in a classroom either with no fuel, for sure.
Yeah, you definitely can't perform in a classroom, right? So you definitely want to hammer that when they're younger. Get them sleeping good, eating good, hydrating all the time. Something I tell younger guys, right? Your muscles can only do one thing. That's contract, and they can only contract when your brain tells them to contract, right? So your body is going to do what your brain tells it to. We train the brain more than we train the body, right? And a huge part of training the brain is training the brain in a classroom. So classroom time, you cannot hammer that enough, right? Classroom time is huge. The smarter you are in the classroom, the smarter you're going to be on the football field, right? And that has a direct correlation and a direct transfer to the field. You get A's in the classroom, you're going to be a better football player. That's a fact.
Definitely. And Coach Wilkins, how do you feel the kids have been taking everything in that Coach has been advising with?
Yeah, no, it's new, right? So I think the at the end of the day, and I talked to kids today, it's like there's a point where their bodies go where Coach Joe and Coach EJ are taking these young men where it's very uncomfortable, right? And that's when you have to push. When things get uncomfortable is when you have to get comfortable with that uncomfortability, because, especially when we're doing like hip circles, hip airplanes, and all the mobility stuff that we do, it's natural for a kid to say, oh, that's it. That's all I can go, right? But pushing past that and really trying to hone in onto the coaching points. And I think he's done an excellent job, and EJ's done an excellent job. And like I said, we're blessed here, right? Not only do we have one Division I strength coach already on staff, which was EJ, now we have another one that's come on and just, taken his experiences working with literally the world's strongest men and bring them to our kids. They're super lucky. They're super blessed. I don't think they realize it, but I think after the fact and at the end of the day, they appreciate it, and they will understand, like, wow, after we've played in a game, and they're not going to be as injury prone, because and Joe will explain his definition of what mobility truly is, but we're trying to make them more mobile, the ability to move, and then power. We're not trying to make just strength, right? Power, ability to move and move fast and move strong and move things with great power is what we're looking at. So I'm super happy. We really have a long way to go, but I think we're going to get there sooner rather than later now that we have so much expertise here.
And with the mobility, how are you working on that with the kids?
Give your definition of mobility.
Yeah.
I like that definition.
So, I have a the way I like to think about it. flexibility is your base. Can my body move? So my body can move to this range of motion. So that's flexibility. Mobility is, can my body move to that range of motion under duress? So under load, with a barbell on my back loaded up with a bunch of weight, can I do that same movement, right? So that's mobility. Flexibility, can I move? Mobility, can I move under duress? Agility is, can I move under duress in an active environment, so such as on the field. Agility is super hard to train, right? We might not even be able to train, hypothetically might not be able to train agility, because agility is the mind's ability to come up with a solution to a problem in an active, stressful environment, such as on the football field. Every game, a guy's going to be faced with something, a situation that he hasn't trained that specific movement, and he hasn't trained that specific power or flexibility or whatever. But agility is his brain's ability to reach back into all of that mobility training and that flexibility training, right? And say, okay, if I put this together, it's going to work right now. He's got to make it up on the fly. That's being agile. That comes from the brain, right? The smarter the guy, the better the player. That's the brain's ability to adapt on the field. That's agility.
And then describe athleticism. It was pretty interesting listening to you talk about that yesterday, how you were talking about the kids having an awareness of where their body is and how to control it.
Marshall Roberts, shout out to Marshall Roberts right there.
Yeah, shout out to Coach Roberts, who taught me this, and he made it so simple. I just stood there for like a while and was just like, what is going on in my brain right now? How did I not understand the simplest concept in the world? Athleticism is simply body awareness and body control. That is it. Are you aware of what your body is doing inside of space and time, and can you control what your body is doing inside of space and time? First off, you have to be aware, right? Where's my body at in space and time? And then control what it's doing. That, my friends, that's an athlete.
Yeah. Talk about space, time, and matter.
Yeah, so, space, time, matter. We exist inside of space. We exist inside of time. We are matter. So that's the three things that, make up our universe. And everything happens in those, right? So we are the matter. We exist inside of space and time. We need to be aware of time. We need to be aware of space. And when we're putting matter, right, that's us, when are we putting us in a certain situation? And where are we putting us in a certain situation? So it's huge to get the concept of time and space. Am I putting me in the right place at the right time to be successful? And that comes back to agility, right? So on the field, is my brain functioning at such a high level that I can say, all right, I'm aware of where my matter is inside of space and time, and I'm going to put it here at this time to whatever achieve the goal that I'm trying to do on the field at the time.
So what you're saying is a strength coach is not just a guy that just lifts weights, heavy weights.
If it was that easy, that'd be the funnest thing ever.
No doubt.
That would be the funnest thing ever, but there's so much more to it.
Yeah, for sure.
There's so much more to it. You don't just get to lift heavy weights. That's, that's part of the process for sure. You can't, the stronger you are, the better off you're going to be.
For sure. And I think of like my definition when I talk to DBs, I talk about that space and time that we talk about, and being efficient with your body movement so you can shrink the time the distance, which is time between me and the receiver. So the more efficient my body can move in space, the faster time I can shrink by playing that position. So what Coach Joe's doing here is so important, because he's not just, training them to move their bodies, but he's training them in a matter which they can be efficient, because efficiency and movement is really what correlates to speed and agility.
Speed and agility.
Yeah, absolutely. Being efficient in the way I move, and athleticism, absolutely. So I think it's been awesome, just watching the kid. Like I said, it's been very uncomfortable for them because all of it's new. I mean, shoot, I don't want to sound arrogant here, but this is probably something that's not very common to see in high school levels of this type of level of strength and conditioning. But I think, you know, as they go through it, they're going to start realizing, like, man, my hips aren't as stiff, and man, my back feels a lot better, and wow, now I'm starting to be really good at moving because we're practicing, right? And the mother of all teachers, repetitions, right? And we talked about with the kids with Coach EJ. Coach EJ's, you know, one of the best speed coaches. I mean, he's got one of the top track programs here in the state of California. He's one of the best speed coaches there is around. You know, just how do you get faster? Well, you run. You get repetitions in running, and then you just clean up the technique, like you said, little changes. You know, how do you get better at playing DB? Well, you take repetitions, and you just learn how to make your body move more efficiently. So, to your point, can you get stronger faster without the rep?
No, absolutely not.
So, like you trained with one of the world's strongest men, Coach Bill. How did Coach Bill get over a 1,000-pound bench press?
Well, he literally would bench 5 times a week, you know, and have a 4-hour bench press session 5 times a week, you know, for a guy to lay underneath a bar and take hundreds and hundreds of reps every single week until it was just 100% perfect.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's how he went out and broke the world record. First
sure.
man to ever bench press, you know, 800 pounds. He did that when he was 49 years old, came out at 62 years old, bench pressed 1,100 pounds. It was just crazy.
Yeah.
But he was dedicated to the reps. He was dedicated to putting in the work, taking the reps, for sure.
What was the thing that you said Coach Llewellyn, another one of the world's strongest men, Coach Llewellyn always said about work and strength? You told it to me the other day, you remember?
No.
He was talking about strength and like there's not a way you can get stronger, but it just takes work. You're telling me no way, right?
He who puts in the most reps gets the strongest. The guy who puts
exactly.
in the most reps gets the strongest. Yeah.
Not rocket science.
Yeah, it's not rocket science. That was an old Louis Simmons thing, right?
Yeah.
Louis Simmons said, "Hey, there is no secret. You know, the guys who do best and are the strongest are the guys who work the hardest." Every time you put in your reps, you work the hardest, you're going to be the strongest guy. That's just how it works.
So what we're doing is we're also trying to teach them how to work hard. You know, the kids think they understand what hard work is, and I just don't think they've been to that level. And again, you know, like when we brought out the Navy SEALs, right? And I told the kids, like, we're not trying to train you to be a Navy SEAL. We're just trying to give you that mindset of how to work and how to be disciplined and how to be detailed, right? Not every one of these kids is going to be a Division I athlete, right? You know, but at the same time, like, you're trying to teach them, even if they're going to at least have the habits that a Division I athlete has, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, and tell parents, you know, parents all the time think my son's a Division I athlete, my son's this, my son's that, right? Those guys are uncommon, right?
Yep. Yeah, very uncommon. Not too many people make it to the Division I level. You know, not to rain on anybody's parade, but I tell you what, if you do want to get to the Division I level, you better be putting in the reps. You better be putting in the work, because you ain't going to make it there, you know, without hard work.
It takes a lot of work, absolutely.
A lot of work.
And then when you get there, it's not the end all be all. You know, some people think the scholarship is their ticket. Not even close. There's 4 more years of a straight grind, and then if you even want to get to that next level, which you and I have been around, Division I draft picks, not Division I draft picks, first round draft picks. We understand, like, there's just a certain level of mentality and work. And, you know, we were talking today, Tyler, and it was really, really, really important. I remember I was talking with a parent on the sideline during the 5th quarter, and he's like, you know, the only thing that my son says is that you guys do the same thing over and over again. And I looked at myself and I said, I'm doing a bad job teaching, right? Mastery. What is the definition of mastery? Doing something over and 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 over again until it's done with mastery. And once you get the mastery part done, then you just do it even better, right? And we had our Navy SEAL talk about putting a 9mm round in a keyhole, right? How did he get that down? Because he took so many reps mentally and physically. And so, yes, for parents out there, when they come to the 5th quarter, we will be doing the same things over and over and over and over and over and over and over again until it's done with mastery. And I think that's critical.
Yeah, I forget who said it or where it came from. I believe it was out of, like, one of the older martial arts guys in a study said it takes 4,400 repetitions to put something into your subconscious that you can do it without thinking about it. So when guys come out and do 300-400 reps and tell me they're bored, I say, sir, we have a long way to go. We got a long way to go.
Yeah, multiply this by 10, and then we're close.
Yeah.
I think it correlates too, for like an example that people could understand is like Kobe Bryant and Steph Curry. They take 10,000 3-pointers until they finally can actually, make a 3-pointer or a step back. Like there's just so many reps that go into getting it right under pressure and just making it, just a natural habit without even thinking.
For sure. And it's not just practice. I mean, you said this the other day, and I'm not a man of perfect. I don't believe in perfection. I believe in better. But there is that quote, practice does not make perfect. It's the perfect practice that makes perfect. It's the intent when you train. It's not just coming out there and just lollygagging through reps. It's fully being focused and intentional with the rep that you take. And we're trying to create intention when they train, and which we will do. And when we get the Tendo units in, which is just measurement of bar speed, then they're going to have intent, and they're going to know that I am getting better, right? Because how do you know you're getting better if you can't measure it? And that was part of something that you're around under Bill. And I'd like to kind of shift to that. Explain your experience working with Bill Gillespie, Dave Williams, Bryant Llewellyn, Jeff Boschman. I mean, Andre. I mean, all these guys that were literally the world's strongest dudes and some of the world's best strength coaches. Walk me through your experiences, what you learned, and what you brought with you.
So one thing you're going to learn from them guys is you better embrace the process. You better enjoy yourself every day, because if you don't enjoy the repetitions, right? So that was hard for me to get into. I was like, all right, I'm here, I'm putting in the work, but I didn't want to put in the work, right? I was just like, I know it's something I have to do to get better. So I was just there, just putting in the work so I could get better. Well, that's not a way to look at it, right? You have to enjoy the process. The process is life. You can't be outcome oriented. You can't focus on the outcome. You got to focus on the process. The process is what you do every day. So are you going to live for one powerlifting competition that happens? You might make 4 of them if you're lucky. If you're a power lifter, you might make 4 good competitions in a year. So you're going to live for 4 days of that year. And what happens? You go in and do bad, right? What happens? You don't break a world record, or you don't get better, from your last competition. You just got to embrace the process. The process is what it's about. You learn, you go to a competition, you do good, you do bad, doesn't matter. You still learn from it, but you enjoy the everyday, you enjoy the grind, you enjoy working out, and you have to learn to push yourself past anything. So a big part of being a strength coach is injury prevention, and I was talking to the guys about this. There's a massive difference between being hurt and being injured, right? Being hurt goes away tomorrow, or in a week, or in a month, right? Being injured, you might have to go see a doctor. I don't want guys to get injured, right? So a big part of it is injury prevention, but you can't prevent injury without hurting somebody, right? If that makes sense. So you have to hurt. You have to embrace the grind.
Right. So when you lift a weight, the natural progression is your muscles break down.
Yeah.
They hurt.
Yeah, they hurt a lot.
You recover, and then you go to the next session. Right.
But being hurt doesn't mean you're injured.
Exactly.
Yeah. And if you don't hurt, right?
You're doing something wrong. I agree.
You're doing something wrong. So
our guys are hurting right now.
Yeah, they are. I can see it on their face.
For sure.
A lot of them are just out there suffering, but and they don't say too much, and they just grind through. And I love it. I love their mentality. They're great guys. But you can see it on their face. You can see it in their movements. You can see them struggling to do something that they're asked to do or whatever. But that's the hurt part, right?
For sure.
They're in pain. But if you want to prevent injury on the field, you're going to have to get to that point where you're pushing yourself.
Sure.
To hurt.
So bigger, faster, stronger, more mobile prevents you from getting injured.
Absolutely. So the bigger you are, obviously. So that goes back to the brain, right? So back to athleticism and teaching flexibility, mobility, agility. The better your brain is at doing something, the stronger your brain is, the less susceptible you are to injury. When you do something right, rep after rep after rep, and it just becomes that way, you're way less susceptible to being injured. So, guys,
body awareness is part of that too, right?
Yeah, body awareness, body control. I forget who said it, but somebody said a long time ago, fatigue will make a coward of any man. Don't fight cowardice, fight fatigue. And just the concept we can take away from that is just when you get tired, your brain is not functioning at its highest capacity. Why do we do a ton of reps? Why do we want 4,400 reps? So every time I do a rep on the field, my brain fires a certain set of signals that makes my body do it in a certain way. Right? And it's just the exact same thing every time and again. And that's what injury prevention is. It's doing it the right way and not letting my brain have to think, right? It's just doing it subconsciously. And I don't want to get into a position where I take a little bit of a wrong step or dive at the wrong angle or cut at the wrong angle. That's where injury comes from. It comes from not taking enough reps and not training your brain to fight through that fatigue.
For sure, absolutely. Now talk through your experience working with athletes at OU. You saw some feats of strength that were crazy, right?
My goodness, these guys are just...
Yeah, Coach Bill knew what he was doing, right?
Coach Bill knew what he was doing when it comes to strength.
For sure.
So the guys at LU are there was the strongest Division I football team. They were unquestionably the strongest. If you would have took every football team every college football team in the United States.
It's all measurable. You can look at the numbers.
It is unquestionably measurable. Coach Bill definitely know how to get them guys strong. They were super, super strong, like incredibly strong. They were very good at that, and we had a bunch of guys, right? I said it already, but when they showed up, you show up to a Division I program, you're pretty much already the dude, right? So, and you're just perfecting small things. But Coach Bill had a way about getting guys incredibly strong. Strength is definitely injury prevention as well. From your body's ability to accept force. So there's concepts like rate of force development, but there's also rate of force acceptance. So when you get smoked by somebody right on the football field, your body's just like shrugs it off and says, oh yeah, that's rate of force acceptance. I can accept that amount of force. And I'm strong enough to accept that amount of force and just kind of shrug it off and go on to the next rep.
Yeah.
And Coach Bill was very good at that. But some of the guys were dudes. You know what I mean? Some of the
Dexter,
guys
what did he clean? What did Dexter clean?
Yeah, he was a linebacker.
475?
Hang clean, 475. We had guys benching well over 500 pounds, guys squatting 600, 700, 800 pounds. These boys were just nasty. And a lot of that came from Coach Williams, too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Coach Williams, the original guy from way back in the day, he was super old school. You want to get strong, put more weight on. Let's go. Let's see what happens. And he just had monsters in that. And when Coach Williams set that precedence, Coach Bill came in, helped perfect that, and just kept it going. And them guys were just so incredibly strong. The numbers on the board, they look like powerlifting numbers, right? Not football player numbers. It was just so incredible. And these guys would just come in, adapt well, and just lift massive, massive amounts of weight.
Yeah, and then it's not only that. Not only was Dexter strong, but he was fast as heck, too. So what is it about strength and speed that correlates together?
Okay, so they always say we want powerful athletes. Well, what is power? Power is strength times speed. So that translates to power. That is what power is, just strength times speed. So you got to make a guy strong, and you got to make him fast. So a guy that's fast and not strong, he's not powerful. A guy that's strong but he's not fast, he's not powerful. He's just strong or he's just fast. Power is the mix of the two. How fast can you be strong? So there's huge training. We can't hypothetically you can't even train power. You can train strength and you can train speed, and when the two come together, that creates power. So I can make a guy stronger and I can make a guy faster. That makes a guy more powerful. But I'm not training him, right? Power. I'm not training power. I'm training strength and I'm training speed. The two come together, they create power. That's what that is.
Explain the Tendo unit.
Is a power. Okay.
What's the Tendo unit? How would you know? And how can you measure that?
Right. So we can measure if a guy's powerful, right? We can measure if a guy's strong, and that tells me that's easy, right? If I say a guy's strong, I can watch it because I can see his weight's going up. He's putting more weight on the bar. So that's an easy measurement. If a guy squats 100 today, 200 tomorrow, I know he got stronger. That's easy, right? That's just numbers. If a guy gets faster, That's easy to see, right? In the aspect of, say, running a 40 and we can laser time them, hand time them, however you time them. Just speed drills, we can time that, right? But then there is a unit, they call it tendo unit, and that measures bar speed.
Your ability to move weight and move it fast.
Right. At what speed are you moving the weight that you have? So that is power. So I'm measuring power output by how fast you're moving a set amount of weight. And that's what the tendo unit does, and that gives me a measurement of the power that you are creating. So I'm training strength, I'm training speed, and now I'm seeing that come to fruition on a tendo unit. It's telling me the bar is moving at X amount of speed. And like, for instance, when we squat, I want to see a guy squat his weight at 0.6 meters per second. So a guy goes down, guy comes up with the weight right in a squat. I want to see 0.6 meters per second. That tells me that's powerful. That is a powerful action. So strength times speed.
Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. So we're not just training with, and part of that's injury prevention too, right? If I'm the more powerful player, I'm moving the body, not being moved, right?
Correct.
Being moved is something that puts your body in a pretty bad situation. Is when you're constantly being moved. That's usually enhances your ability to be injured. So I think, you really look at modern day strength and training. It's progressed so far, right? The science has progressed so far, and the techniques have progressed so far. But we don't just go out and lift weights, right? We do mobility, agility, and we do like all the things that you talk about, flexibility. And I think that's really important. I think it's going to take us to another level. I think we're very stiff and we're getting more mobile, but that's common. And like I explained to Joe and EJ also really told me this. Hey, coach, they just come off COVID, right? And what did COVID do? COVID took us from a position where we're active to we're stagnant, right? And we're sitting on the couch and we're sitting down and we're not as active as we used to be. So now we're working through all these deficiencies with the kids, and it's very important, though, that you keep your body moving, even if it's on the weekend, right? We were talking to the kids, like if you're sitting down and you finally get a break, don't just sit on the couch. Like walk, move, do something, play some basketball. Like just do something where your body is moving, because your body was designed to do what? Move.
Unquestionably.
Your body was designed to move. That's just the nature of how we were created. So I think you've done a great job so far with the kids. And Tyler, you were out there. I want to hear from your vantage point. What did you think about just the new stuff that you've been seeing out there with the strength and conditioning?
I love all the field stuff that I saw yesterday with the mobility, having them stretch, getting them in different positions, seeing the guys that cannot squat to save their life, some of the guys that they can't reach over and do some of the movements. But I think it's such a big factor for football, because you're turning on a dime, you're having to change all your body momentum one way or another, and you're relying on your mobility compared to guys that might not be flexible, or they might not be able to move at all. It takes them a lot longer, and they aren't even able to run in the direction that they have to. But like just being able to be more flexible, more mobile, it just helps your gameplay so much better. And the kids won't realize that until summer, when they've had enough reps and time where they actually could see it correlate into their action, that they're like, oh yeah, a couple months ago I was stiff and I couldn't even move at all. Like I think that's when it will really click for the players, and they'll be able to see how it correlates to football instead of them just doing stretches or whatnot out on the field.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome. Now let's go. We kind of missed this part. Let's go way back. You and I met at my brother's wedding, right? This is kind of a funny story. We met at my brother's wedding, and he went through Navy SEAL training with my brother, and we met at his wedding. And then, 2 weeks later, you're in my wedding.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
We just connected so well. I was like, Joe, you coming to my wedding? He's like, okay. 2 weeks later, and then you literally drove us from Fresno, California, in your red Dodge Diesel Cummins to Lynchburg, Virginia, and then 2 years later you were there, and with Coach Bill for 6 seasons, and then with Coach Freeze for 2 seasons. 4 with Bill and 2 with Coach Freeze. And talk about working with Malik Willis. Probably a guy that's going to get drafted here. Definitely first round, maybe top 10, maybe top 5, maybe 1 overall. You know, who knows? We'll see what the draft is. But talk about working with an athlete like that. What's that experience like?
Yeah, so the best thing I can say about Malik is I tell you what, every day I never ever seen Malik without a smile on his face.
That's awesome.
Just the best attitude, the most humble guy you've ever met. Never had anything bad to say about anybody. You never ever heard anything negative come out of that guy's mouth. He always had a smile on his face. He was always being positive, and he'd get after guys, right? He wants his teammates to get better. He said that multiple times, right? I'm here to make everybody else around me better, and if I make them better, I'm going to make myself better. But he did it in such a positive manner, and he embraced the grind, and he embraced the reps. He wanted to take the reps. He wanted to do the work.
He wanted to be coached.
He wanted to be coached, and that's something he said. I love being coached, and he loved to take the reps, and he loved to put in the work, and he just always had a smile on his face. Was always saying something encouraging to every one of his teammates and everybody around him. He just had these great vibes, and he's an incredible human being. And it's just he's a 1 in a million guy, right? That just brings everybody around him up, right? And he won't let anybody bring him down. That's not what he's about. He's going to come in, he's going to bring everybody else up, and he's going to encourage everybody to work hard, with him.
Yeah.
Get better.
So in order to be at that level of a player, not only do you got to be a great player, but a great person and a great personality, and especially being the quarterback, right? You got to be able to bring people up around you. And so I think it's really awesome that he has these experiences that he's had, bringing them to Clovis High School. I mean, sometimes, I think these kids got to pinch themselves sometimes, right? They got all this experience around them now. They got all these guys that have worked with the players at the highest of levels, right? Whether it be Josh Allen, who's one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL right now, Malik Willis, who's going to be one of the top quarterbacks taken in the draft, and just those experiences. And people think it's rocket science. It's not, right? Hardest workers, best people.
Yeah.
It's really that simple. Hardest workers, best people, and they have a brain, and they use their brain, and they take their craft very, very seriously, and they put in the reps, right? So all of this to correlate to that, right? Repetition, we talked about repetition being the master of all teachers. You want to be great? Get a ton of repetitions and just do it over and over and over and over again until it becomes mastery. Like Bruce Lee said, I don't fear the man that has 10,000 kicks. I fear the man that has one and has done it 10,000 times, because he's a master at that. And then once you go through the repetitions, it comes down to this. Are you a good person? Do you work hard? Are you a good student? And are you a hardest worker? And that's going to turn you into a complete athlete, right? And that's what we're trying to build here, right, Joe? We're not trying to just build football players. A complete athlete is so much more than playing football. They eventually got to go from us and wrestle. They eventually got to go from us and go to the baseball field, the volleyball court, the basketball court, whatever. We're trying to make them into the best athlete and best people that they can be. And I think that will take them through in life.
Yeah, to just touch on that quick. Play multiple sports. Be a multi-sport athlete for sure. Don't just focus on one thing. Do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, Malik Willis, what did he play? Baseball?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, he was baseball. I'm baseball, basketball. All the guys that I coach for multi-sports. I mean, yeah. Be an athlete. Be an athlete. It's not rocket science.
Don't just play one sport. Do multiple.
Right, Tyler? You were a multi-sport. You were an athlete.
Yep. That's the biggest thing ever. I'm more biased towards wrestling, but, you'll have guys like corners and wide receivers that will say, track is better. You'll have different positions that say, jumping and volleyball or basketball are better. But if you're doing something else, it helps a heck of a lot.
Absolutely. Body control, body awareness. You're just a different sport's just putting your body in a different situation it's never been in, right? So you have to learn to adapt to a new environment. And like Coach Joe said, man, that's the key, and that's critical. And we had this conversation the other day. I can't wrap my mind around specialization in a sport, never will. That's just me, and that to each their own, and I get it. But again, a guy coming from the Division I strength level, he's worked with Division I athletes, and I think he would verify this. The better the athlete, the more sports he played in high school.
No question. All of our best players were always multi-sport athletes. A lot of basketball players that were also football players, and they were very, very good football players. Wrestling has a huge background in football. A lot of good football players you're going to see have a wrestling background. Basketball, that's another huge one. But out of any sport, we see hockey players come up and play football. They know how to move. They know how to move. They're good at putting power down.
Do we even have hockey in California?
Yeah, hockey's huge.
Is there?
Yeah. Most of
Not high school hockey though, right?
So I think high school hockey is more of like Fresno Monster, and it's like a club team. And then some other friends that I have, they'll go to different homes like in Canada or Minnesota, and they'll live there for a couple years, and they'll play hockey there, and then they'll come back.
Interesting. Shout out to Coach Boschman,
Yeah.
the Canadian hockey,
Muscle.
Maple Muscle.
Yeah.
He was the strength coach, head strength coach at Carson Newman. Big influence on Joe and myself in strength conditioning.
We used to have, I think they were called the Fresno Falcons.
Oh, I remember.
You remember that?
Yeah, I do remember. Okay.
So there was a
gotcha.
Fresno Falcons, and then I think it went to Fresno Monster, and now Fresno Monster's in the ice skate arena. They aren't in Solid Arena anymore.
Being in the Midwest for the short time that I was, and obviously Joe being from Michigan, the lakes up there are frozen more often than not. So hockey's big up there. I get it. Hockey's big up here, but you don't have any frozen lakes around here.
Not at all. Huntington might get frozen, the first half where you could do a couple snowmobiling, but that's about it. That's as close as you're going to get around here.
But I mean, I think to finish this thing off, I think it'd be much appreciation to you, Coach Joe, for coming out, being around the kids. I think they've learned a ton. I think obviously I've learned a ton. I think EJ's learned a ton, and I think we all are learning off each other. What I love about this staff is we're no ego guys, right? So all of a sudden you've got all this experience. I don't think people care. They just want to see kids get better, and that's what it's all about. And me as the head coach, that's my emphasis. Obviously, I'm the leader, but at the same time, it is surround our players with best people that want to see you get better, that have no ego and just care about making your athlete or your son into the best possible human being they can be and the best possible player that they can be. So much appreciation, Joe, for being a part of this thing.
And your final last words for the parents listening and the community listening. What's going to be the difference that they'll see in their kids from now to the start of the season, implementing all these new strength programs, this mobility, advising all like the strength stuff?
Easy stuff is they're going to be bigger, they're going to be faster, they're going to be stronger, right? That's the core, but that's not what we're really about. Hopefully they start to understand. Hopefully you start seeing making better decisions when it comes to sleep, when it comes to eating habits, when it comes to tackling the classroom and getting better grades. So hopefully the goal is that we have a complete better human being that's getting better grades in school, taking that, training his mind. He's
right.
getting better sleep, becoming letting his body heal. He's hurt, he's sore, right? Got to learn to heal. You heal when you're sleeping. So hopefully, big things are bigger, faster, stronger, but better grades, better sleeping habits, better eating habits.
Definitely. And shout out for the hats again.
Thank you.
All the kids are definitely wearing them, and we'll put up the QR code right now. Thank you.
Donate if you love what we're doing.
Yes.
Donate it. It costs a lot to run a program like this, but we're getting there.
Thank you for everyone that's donating to it. Again, if you want to donate physical products, athletic office,
just
correct?
go to Cynthia Athletics or drop it off at the main office. They'll shoot me an email and we'll come pick it up. But so far, our peanut butter and jelly station, we're going through 4 loaves a day.
Yeah,
just about. I mean, our kids are crushing it. They love it. They need it. It's better than eating, hot Cheetos and fries and just stuff like that. I mean, it's just a great, simple way to keep good fuel in the body.
Any last words?
Go Cougs.
Go Cougs. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Thanks for watching. This is episode 5, and have a great day.